What if I told you that one of the most powerful things you could do for your circulation, your vascular health, and your morning energy takes less than 2 minutes before bed and costs almost nothing? There is a small coastal village on the southern tip of Greece, a place researchers from top universities have quietly been studying for decades, and the reason they keep coming back isn't the scenery, it's the men. Men in their 80s, men in their 90s, men who by every clinical measurement have the blood vessel health of men 30 years younger. Their circulation is strong, their arteries are flexible, their energy in the morning is the kind most men in their 50s have completely given up hoping for. And when the researchers asked the same question over and over, what are you doing differently? The answer was almost embarrassingly simple. Every single night before going to sleep, these men consumed olive oil, but not just plain olive oil. Olive oil mixed with specific natural compounds, a ritual passed down through generations that together created something far more powerful than any one ingredient alone. I'm Dr. James, and today I want to walk you through the science behind exactly why this works. Not in confusing medical language, not in a way that puts you to sleep before you even get to the good part, but in plain, straightforward English that gives you something real and actionable you can use tonight. We're going to talk about what olive oil actually does to your blood vessels while you sleep, and we're going to go through 4 specific ingredients you can stir right into it, each one targeting a completely different part of your overnight vascular recovery. And I promise you, by the time we get to the 4th one, you're going to understand something about your body that most people, including most doctors, have never been told. So, stay with me. This one matters. Before we go any further, if you're watching this and you care about your long-term health, your energy, your urological function, and how you feel when you wake up in the morning, hit that like button right now and subscribe to Urology Education and Vitality. We put out content built on real science designed for real men. And drop a comment below telling me where in the world you're watching from. I read every single one. Now, let's get into this. The foundation. Why olive oil at night changes everything. Let's start with olive oil itself, because most people think of it as just a cooking ingredient, a nice fat to drizzle on salad. And if that's how you've been thinking about it, you've been dramatically underestimating one of the most pharmacologically complex foods on earth. Extra virgin olive oil contains over 30 distinct polyphenolic compounds, natural plant chemicals that have direct measurable effects on your biology. And 3 of them are especially important for men over 50 who want to protect and improve their vascular and urological health. The first is called hydroxytyrosol. This compound is one of the most potent natural antioxidants ever measured in any food. Its ability to neutralize damaging free radicals, the oxidative molecules that attack and degrade your blood vessels over time, exceeds that of vitamin C, vitamin E, and even coenzyme Q10. When you consume extra virgin olive oil, hydroxytyrosol enters your bloodstream and travels directly to your tissues, where it acts like a protective shield around your blood vessel walls, especially the delicate inner lining called the endothelium. Now, here's why nighttime matters so much for this. During sleep, your body enters what scientists call its vascular repair window. Your blood pressure drops naturally. Researchers call this nocturnal dipping, and your endothelial cells, the cells that line the inside of every blood vessel in your body, go into active regeneration mode. Your body is literally rebuilding your blood vessels while you sleep. And those newly regenerating cells are particularly vulnerable to oxidative damage. They need antioxidant protection right at that moment, during the hours they're being rebuilt. Hydroxytyrosol from olive oil consumed before bed gets absorbed during those early hours of sleep and provides exactly that protection. The second major compound in olive oil is oleuropein. This polyphenol does something remarkable. It directly stimulates the production of nitric oxide in your endothelial cells. Nitric oxide is the molecule your blood vessels use to relax and widen. It's the biological signal for better blood flow. In urological health, nitric oxide is absolutely fundamental. It's the primary driver of healthy circulation to the pelvic region, which directly affects bladder function, prostate health, and overall male vitality. When oleuropein activates the enzyme responsible for nitric oxide production, the enzyme called endothelial nitric oxide synthase, you get more of this critical signaling molecule produced during the exact hours when your body is doing its deepest repair work. The third compound is oleocanthal. You may not have heard this name before, but the research on it is genuinely exciting. Oleocanthal has anti-inflammatory properties that work in a way pharmacologically similar to ibuprofen, inhibiting the same inflammatory enzymes, but it does this gently, naturally, and without the side effects associated with regular anti-inflammatory drug use. Chronic low-grade inflammation in the walls of your blood vessels is one of the primary causes of endothelial dysfunction and circulatory decline as men age. Every night you sleep without addressing that inflammation, it compounds. Oleocanthal taken before bed gives your body a powerful natural tool to resolve that inflammatory damage during the overnight hours, rather than letting it accumulate. And then there's oleic acid, the dominant fatty acid in olive oil, making up roughly 70 to 80% of its composition. Oleic acid improves endothelial function, supports healthy blood lipid profiles, and reduces inflammatory markers on its own, but it also plays a role that is absolutely crucial for what we're about to discuss. It is an exceptional natural solvent and carrier for fat-soluble bioactive compounds. Many of the most powerful natural compounds for vascular and urological health are fat-soluble, meaning they dissolve in fat, but not in water. When you stir these compounds into olive oil, the oleic acid dissolves them, holds them in suspension, and dramatically enhances how much of them your intestinal wall actually absorbs into your bloodstream. This carrier effect turns olive oil into something far more than just a fat. It becomes a delivery vehicle, one of the best that nature has ever designed. Now that you understand why olive oil is the base, let me show you what to add to it, because this is where things get genuinely powerful. 4 ingredients, 4 completely different mechanisms, and together they create something your blood vessels have probably not experienced in years. Ingredient 1, raw cacao powder. The first ingredient is raw cacao powder, and I want you to set aside every mental association you have with chocolate bars and candy. Raw cacao is not candy. It is one of the most well-studied plant foods in cardiovascular and urological research, and the compound responsible for its effects is called epicatechin. Epicatechin is a flavonol, a type of polyphenol, and it has been studied in over 1,000 peer-reviewed papers for its effects on blood vessel health. What epicatechin does at a molecular level is directly activate endothelial nitric oxide synthase, the same enzyme that oleuropein from olive oil activates. But here's the important distinction. Epicatechin activates it through a completely different molecular pathway. It works through what's called the PI3K ACT signaling route, while oleuropein works through a separate phosphorylation cascade. When 2 different compounds activate the same target enzyme through 2 different routes simultaneously, the combined activation of that enzyme is significantly greater than either compound could achieve alone. Scientists call this pharmacological synergy, and it's exactly what you get when you combine raw cacao with olive oil before bed. But epicatechin does something else that is particularly important for men over 50. It inhibits an enzyme called phosphodiesterase type 5. If that name sounds familiar, it's because that enzyme is the target of several well-known medications prescribed for male vitality and pelvic blood flow. Phosphodiesterase type 5 breaks down cyclic GMP, the downstream messenger molecule that carries out the vasodilation signal from nitric oxide into the muscle cells surrounding your blood vessels. When you inhibit this enzyme, the vasodilation signal persists longer and accumulates to higher levels. Combined with the enhanced nitric oxide production from both epicatechin and oleuropein, this inhibition creates a powerful amplification of your entire vascular signaling cascade naturally without a prescription while you sleep. Now, this is also where the olive oil important for cacao specifically. Epicatechin has limited solubility in water. When you consume it in water-based preparations, a significant portion passes through your digestive system without being fully absorbed. But when epicatechin is dissolved in the oleic acid of olive oil, its absorption through your intestinal wall improves dramatically. The fat-mediated absorption pathway in your small intestine is specifically designed to handle lipid-dissolved compounds, and it does so with far greater efficiency than the water-based pathway. Research has consistently shown that flavonols, the class of compounds epicatechin belongs to, show significantly higher bioavailability when consumed with dietary fat. To combine this with your olive oil, stir 1 to 2 teaspoons of raw cacao powder into 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. It creates a thick, dark, surprisingly rich paste. Many men who try this before bed find it genuinely satisfying. Almost like a healthy version of a small indulgence before sleep. That's not a bad thing. Creating a ritual you actually enjoy is one of the strongest predictors of whether you'll stick with it long enough to see results. That's ingredient 1. And already we have nitric oxide being amplified through 2 independent pathways with a downstream signal that lasts longer than it would on its own. Now let's add the second ingredient because this one addresses something that most vascular health content completely ignores. Ingredient 2, turmeric with black pepper. Turmeric is one of those ingredients that many people have heard about, but few people use correctly, and the reason most people don't get the full benefit from turmeric is a problem of absorption, specifically the absorption of its primary active compound, curcumin. Curcumin is a potent, natural anti-inflammatory compound. It works by modulating what scientists call the nuclear factor kappa B pathway, essentially the master control switch for inflammatory gene expression throughout your body. When curcumin modulates this pathway, it reduces the production of inflammatory cytokines, prostaglandins, and adhesion molecules, all of which, when elevated, damage your endothelial lining and impair its ability to produce nitric oxide. The endothelium, remember, is the inner lining of your blood vessels. It's the surface that regulates blood flow, responds to the body's signals, and produces the nitric oxide that keeps your circulation healthy. Chronic inflammation in and around that lining is one of the primary reasons men over 50 experience declining circulation, reduced urological function, and diminished morning vitality. Curcumin, consumed regularly, directly addresses that inflammatory damage. Clinical trials have shown that regular curcumin consumption produces measurable improvements in flow-mediated dilation, a clinical measurement of how well your blood vessels expand in response to increased blood flow. One notable study showed improvements in endothelial function comparable to those seen with moderate aerobic exercise. That's not a minor effect. That's meaningful, clinically measurable improvement in vascular function from a natural compound consumed consistently over time. Now, here's the problem with curcumin that most people don't know. Its oral bioavailability when consumed alone is below 1%. That means almost none of it reaches your bloodstream. The liver metabolizes it aggressively before it ever gets a chance to work. This is why so many people take turmeric supplements and feel nothing. They're simply not absorbing the curcumin. The solution involves 2 things working together. First, piperine, the active compound in black pepper, inhibits the liver enzymes that break curcumin down before it can reach circulation. Studies have shown that piperine can increase curcumin absorption by approximately 2,000%. That's not a typo. Just a small pinch of freshly ground black pepper alongside turmeric transforms it from a nearly non-bioavailable compound into one that your body can actually use in meaningful amounts. Second, curcumin is a lipophilic compound. It dissolves readily in fat. When you stir turmeric into olive oil, the curcumin dissolves into the oleic acid matrix, which protects it from degradation in the digestive tract and delivers it through the fat-mediated intestinal absorption pathway. This is a substantially more efficient delivery method than consuming turmeric in capsule form or in water without a fat source. The combination of fat solubilization from olive oil plus enzyme inhibition from black pepper creates a delivery system for curcumin that is dramatically superior to consuming it any other way. There is also an elegant anti-inflammatory synergy between curcumin and oleocanthal from the olive oil. Both compounds reduce vascular inflammation, but through different molecular targets. Oleocanthal primarily inhibits cyclooxygenase enzymes. Curcumin primarily modulates the nuclear factor kappa B pathway. Together, they cover more anti-inflammatory ground than either compound alone, providing your blood vessels with broader overnight protection from the inflammatory processes that accelerate vascular aging. To add this to your mixture, stir 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric and a generous pinch of freshly ground black pepper into your olive oil and cacao blend. The turmeric turns the mixture a deep golden color and adds a warm, earthy character that balances well with the bitterness of the cacao. We've now covered nitric oxide amplification from 2 angles, phosphodiesterase inhibition, and comprehensive multi-pathway anti-inflammatory protection, all happening while you sleep. But there's a layer of overnight vascular recovery that most never think about, and it might be the most important layer of all. That's what the third ingredient addresses. Ingredient 3, ashwagandha root powder. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a night where you just couldn't fully switch off? Where even when your body was tired, your mind was still running, replaying the day, thinking about tomorrow, carrying a kind of low-level tension that never really released? Most men over 50 know exactly what I'm talking about. And what's happening biochemically in those moments is that your cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is staying elevated when it should be declining. Under normal, healthy circumstances, cortisol follows a clear daily rhythm. It rises in the morning to help you wake up and engage with the world, and it gradually falls throughout the day, reaching its lowest point during the deep hours of sleep. That low cortisol nighttime window is not just about rest. It's physiologically critical for your cardiovascular and urological health. During deep sleep with appropriately low cortisol, your body releases pulses of growth hormone that drive tissue repair. Your testosterone production peaks because testosterone synthesis occurs primarily during sleep, and cortisol directly suppresses it. Your blood vessels relax and undergo their most intensive regenerative cycle. Your blood pressure reaches its lowest point of the day, allowing your vascular system to recover from the demands of waking life. When cortisol doesn't fall the way it should, when it stays elevated into the night, which is increasingly common for men dealing with chronic stress, poor sleep patterns, or metabolic dysfunction, virtually every aspect of this overnight recovery process gets disrupted. Elevated nocturnal cortisol constricts blood vessels, raises blood pressure, promotes vascular inflammation, suppresses nitric oxide production, impairs growth hormone release, and reduces testosterone synthesis. It essentially dismantles the biological conditions your body needs for overnight repair and replaces them with conditions more appropriate for responding to a threat. This is where ashwagandha becomes profoundly relevant. Ashwagandha is an adaptogenic root used in traditional medicine for thousands of years and now studied extensively in modern clinical research. Its active compounds, a group of steroidal lactones called withanolides, have been shown in multiple randomized controlled trials to significantly reduce serum cortisol levels, improve stress resilience, and support healthy hormonal balance. One clinical study showed a statistically significant reduction in cortisol in the ashwagandha group compared to placebo, alongside improvements in self-reported sleep quality, time to fall asleep, and time spent in deep restorative sleep stages. For men over 50, the downstream effects of this cortisol reduction on vascular and urological health are substantial. With a lower nighttime cortisol, your blood vessels can relax more fully. Your body can produce growth hormone and testosterone more effectively. Your sleep reaches more restorative stages where your cardiovascular system does its most meaningful repair work. The result, over weeks and months of consistent use, is a cumulative improvement in morning vascular health that simply isn't available through any other mechanism in this formulation. Ashwagandha's withanolides are fat-soluble compounds, which means, again, olive oil is an ideal carrier for their delivery. Stirring ashwagandha powder into your olive oil blend allows the oleic acid to dissolve those active compounds and transport them through the fat-mediated intestinal absorption pathway far more efficiently than consuming ashwagandha in capsule form or in water without a fat source. Add 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of high-quality ashwagandha root powder to your mixture. The flavor is earthy and slightly bitter, but combined with cacao and turmeric, it integrates well into the overall profile withaut dominating it. So, now we have enhanced nitric oxide production through two complementary pathways. We have phosphodiesterase type 5 inhibition prolonging the vasodilation signal. We have multi-pathway anti-inflammatory protection across the endothelium. And we have cortisol reduction, creating the optimal hormonal environment for deep overnight vascular and urological recovery. Now comes the fourth ingredient, and this one, I genuinely believe, is the most surprising. It addresses a mechanism that most health content has never once mentioned. Stay with me. Ingredient 4, pomegranate seed oil. I want to be very specific here because the ingredient I'm about to describe is not pomegranate juice and not pomegranate extract. It is the oil pressed specifically from pomegranate seeds. And the reason that distinction matters is that pomegranate seed oil contains a fatty acid that is found in virtually no other commonly available food on Earth. That fatty acid is called punicic acid, named after the pomegranate's Latin classification, and it makes up roughly 65 to 80% of pomegranate seed oil's total fatty acid content. Punicic acid is a conjugated linolenic acid with a molecular structure that allows it to interact with your cell's gene regulation systems in ways that most dietary fats simply cannot. Research on punicic acid has shown potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects that are completely distinct from those of oleic acid in olive oil or the polyphenols in cacao and turmeric. Punicic acid modulates inflammatory gene expression through receptors called peroxisome proliferator activated receptors, nuclear receptors that regulate which genes your cells turn on and off in response to metabolic signals. By activating these receptors, punicic acid helps shift your body's metabolic and inflammatory state at the genetic level, reducing the expression of pro-inflammatory genes and supporting the expression of genes associated with healthy fat metabolism and vascular integrity. But the truly extraordinary mechanism of pomegranate seed oil, the one I suspect most of you have never heard before, involves an enzyme called paraoxinase 1. Paraoxinase 1 is produced by your liver and travels in your bloodstream attached to HDL cholesterol particles. Its primary job is to protect LDL cholesterol from oxidation. Now, you've heard about LDL and HDL. Most people think of LDL as simply bad cholesterol, but the more nuanced and accurate picture is this. It's not LDL itself that causes arterial damage. It's oxidized LDL that has been damaged by reactive oxygen species that triggers the inflammatory cascades in your artery walls that lead to plaque formation, endothelial damage, and impaired nitric oxide production. Oxidized LDL is one of the most destructive forces acting on your blood vessels, particularly as you age and your body's natural antioxidant defenses become less robust. Paraoxinase 1 prevents LDL oxidation at its source. When paraoxinase 1 activity is high, LDL particles are continuously protected from the oxidative damage that would otherwise make them harmful. When paraoxinase 1 activity is low, as it tends to be in men with metabolic dysfunction, chronic inflammation, or advancing age, LDL oxidation accelerates and so does vascular damage. Research has demonstrated that pomegranate compounds can meaningfully increase paraoxinase 1 activity and reduce levels of oxidized LDL in the bloodstream. When this protection is provided during the overnight hours, when your liver is most actively processing blood lipids and your blood vessels are undergoing their most intensive repair, the protective effect on your morning vascular health becomes particularly significant. You are essentially providing your cardiovascular system with a lipid protection mechanism during the exact window when it needs it most. When pomegranate seed oil is combined with extra virgin olive oil, the two oils work together beautifully. The oleic acid in olive oil and the punicic acid in pomegranate seed oil provide complementary fatty acid profiles that support the fluidity and structural integrity of cell membranes throughout your blood vessel walls. The polyphenols from olive oil work through antioxidant and anti-inflammatory mechanisms. The punicic acid from pomegranate seed oil works through gene regulation and lipid protection mechanisms. Together, they provide a level of overnight vascular protection that neither oil provides on its own. Add half to 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil to your olive oil blend. It has a mild, gently nutty flavor that integrates seamlessly with the other ingredients. How to prepare it? The preparation is genuinely simple, and once you do it a few times, it takes less than 2 minutes. Into a small bowl or directly onto a spoon, combine 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil with 1 to 2 teaspoons of raw cacao powder. Stir until the cacao is fully incorporated into the oil. You'll get a thick, dark paste at this stage. Add 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric and a generous pinch of freshly ground black pepper, stirring again to fully combine. Add 1/4 to half a teaspoon of ashwagandha root powder and stir that in. Finally, add half to 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil and mix the entire formulation together until you have a smooth, thick, golden brown paste. Consume it directly, approximately 30 to 60 minutes before you go to sleep. The flavor is earthy, rich, slightly bitter, and somewhat complex. Many men find it genuinely satisfying in a way that feels almost ceremonial. That's not a bad thing. When a health practice feels like a ritual rather than a chore, you're far more likely to do it consistently, and consistency is where the real results come from. The overnight benefits of this formulation are cumulative. Each night adds another cycle of enhanced repair, reduced inflammation, improved nitric oxide capacity, lower oxidative stress, better hormonal conditions for recovery, and stronger lipid protection. After 2 to 4 weeks of consistent daily use, many men begin noticing differences in their morning energy, circulation, and overall vitality. After 2 to 3 months, those changes become more pronounced and measurable. The compounding effect of hundreds of these overnight recovery cycles, each one slightly better than what your body experienced without the formulation, is what produces the kind of long-term vascular health you see in those remarkable men on the Greek coast who continue to defy what Western medicine considers the inevitable trajectory of aging. Your blood vessels are not fixed. Your circulation is not a done deal. Every night is a new opportunity for your body to repair, regenerate, and come back stronger. Give it the tools it needs and watch what it does with them. If this information helped you today, if it gave you something real and actionable and hopeful, please share this video with the men in your life who deserve to know this. Hit that like button so this content can reach more people who need it. Subscribe to Urology Education and Vitality for more evidence-based health content designed specifically for men over 50 who want to live with genuine strength and vitality. I'm Dr. James. Take care of your body tonight, and it will take care of you in the morning. I'll see you in the next video.